Welcome to episode number
71.
We're glad you're here. Welcome from frozen tundra of Texas.
It's
We're
cold.
surviving, but it is cold.
We are locked in ice. Good thing we have a cozy little nest here to be together in.
All by ourselves.
All by ourselves. It's
That's
actually
pretty awesome.
quite nice. So we're not complaining, except that it's literally frozen everywhere.
But we have some exciting news. We're going to announce our winner of our contest, our Go and Review and Give Stars contest. Still go and give reviews and stars, please. It's very helpful for us. But the winner of our 3 free coaching sessions.
That is really hard to say.
It's really hard to say.
3 free.
Is Jet Sailplane. Jet Sailplane, congratulations. Please send us an email at amy@langfordlifecoaching.com.
To redeem your 3 free coaching sessions.
We
look forward
to
to
it.
meeting you.
That's right. We may even sneak a doubler there if we can, where Amy and I will jump on a coaching call together. We'd love to do that.
It's pretty fun.
All right. We have another thing coming up that's really, really cool. It's our community. And we sent out a reminder to all those people that have signed up, and it's not too late for you to sign up. And with the lovely holiday that was created just to torture us men and make us buy chocolates coming up, Valentine's Day, we are going to talk about Valentine's Day and some of the traps we fall into. We have had some epic ones that we talked about
fails
on this podcast.
Yeah.
Where I have completely failed, almost got us murdered.
I mean, yes.
Okay, it wasn't almost, but there was a chance. So we're going to talk about some of the things that go along with that and some of the expectations that are derived from just having the holiday in general.
Yes.
And what we can do to overcome those.
Yeah, so the next community will be Tuesday, January 27th at 7:30 Central Time. If you can't make that one, there will be another one in just a month in March. So even if you sign up after Tuesday, January 27th, you can still join us in March.
We'd love to have you. It was fun. So please come and join us.
Yeah.
The last several weeks, there's been some topics running through my mind that I keep bringing up to Amy. And Amy goes, that's interesting. Really around the fact of how to be present in the moment and not worry so much about the future or the past.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a quote somewhere I thought was quite interesting that said, depression is worrying about what happened in the past, and anxiety is worrying about what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And really, we have no control of either, other than the way that we process through them and handle them. And so how do we stay in that middle? How do we stay grounded? Especially around sexual bids and what it means for a spontaneous person to invite their spouse to join them in a specific frequency, a specific act, or something new or novel that they want to do. How do we keep it to our desires and not have it go towards expectation? And today we're going to talk about the difference of what is a true desire and what is an expectation, and why one is helpful and one not so much.
Yes. I think I just got handed the talking stick, so there we go. I think one of the primary differences between a sexual desire and a sexual expectation is the origin of where they come from. And a sexual desire comes from want, a good want, a want that's part of wholesomeness, a want for expansiveness.
Wait, hold on. Should we use the word wholesomeness? And the only reason why I say that is because we might put a box around, these things are wholesome and these things aren't wholesome. But anyway, I know where you're coming from. The wholesome means that you have
a
pure
whole
intent.
sense of self.
Yeah.
I actually meant a whole sense of self.
Oh, okay. That's even a better way of saying it.
Not, because I know there are some religious languages about like unnatural practices and different things like that are confusing. So thank you for helping me clarify that. I would say comes from a whole sense of self.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of putting it.
So that's what I meant by wholesomeness. And I'm glad you caught that, because that could be very, very easily interpreted differently. And expectation is neediness. Expectation is when you take a desire that I think I believe desires help us grow and expand and become better versions of ourselves. When you take those and give it a specific outcome that you are now dependent upon. And I think the dependency there is the hook. When it is a desire, when it is a want, in my mind, you aren't hooked in or dependent yet. Yes, it's something that's desirable, something that you're wanting, but there isn't the sense of, and I'm not okay, or it has to look like this, or if I don't get it, I'm not enough, et cetera, or unloved or undesirable, fill in all the blanks there. So to me, when desire shifts into expectation is when you start to attach measurements or
Yeah.
outcomes or how it has to be fulfilled or how it has to happen. And that's when the dependency, the neediness, when the performance, that you're owed something or the tracking, when all of those, obligation, pressure, that's when all of those are then brought in.
I'll tell you where I see it most in my clients, and it's mostly with my male clients, my spontaneous male clients, because we do have this ability to be able to fantasize and to think about ways that we really want to enjoy our spouse. And I see this really when we get down to the point of, we call it surrendering. And I know we talked a little bit about surrendering because surrendering's not a weakness, even though it sounds like a weakness. And I'm not saying giving up. And that's where my male friends go. They're like, why do I have to do this? It seems like I have to do all this and my wife doesn't have to do anything. I'm the one that has to change. And for first of all, you're the only one you can change. So you even focusing on your wife having to change is not probably helpful in this situation. But what we're trying to say in this point and where I see it is, you can have those desires. You can think about those fantasies. You can want to bring this novelty into a relationship. You can want to try something. It's as soon as you attach those measurable outcomes that you've destroyed the capability of having any eros energy, any intimacy.
And
Because
do you want
now,
go ahead?
because now you've attached an outcome that you want from it. And as soon as you do that, your spouse is going to feel like that they're obligated to do it and that they have to meet some kind of outcome that you've put on there. And eros, gone.
Yeah, you've given it.
Intimacy, gone.
Anytime you give eros an outcome or a problem or a job, something to do, it flees the scene. It's gone because it can only live in freedom. So I am really grateful for you. I'm grateful that you have the sparks, the arousal, the desire, the ideas. I'm grateful for them because they're what help turn two ordinary people. We're just ordinary, regular people. And they help shift from that ordinary daily, we engage all day long to like, ooh, something extraordinary and special is here. They help shift from that meaning of like the same hands that do dishes can now perform magic.
Right.
Right. And that shift is super crucial. And I'm grateful for that. But what I hear so much from wives is it's really hard for me to hear what my husband wants because it becomes a task and a to-do list. And there isn't any freedom in there for me to collaborate or say, how about this? Or maybe not that, or to even understand what the meaning is. We've talked a lot about meanings. And I think for both sides of the equation, it's very important to understand what the meaning is of the intimacy you're partaking in.
That wasn't always the case. You were deathly afraid of my sexuality at one point.
Oh, yeah. Because it was a to-do list. And anytime I came up to it, it was like meeting failure in the face because I didn't understand it. I didn't know the meaning of it. It did feel like you just needed my body. And here was the list of the ways needed my body.
Yeah.
It wasn't attached to our meaning yet, like the meaning of us, the meaning of like soulful co-creation at all. And you really weren't okay if that thing didn't happen.
So that's a lot of things of me.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk about the only thing you can control is you.
Yes.
And I think this is where the husbands get frustrated, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I just asked you, you gave me 10 things that I had to do to fix the problem.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things you needed to focus on.
Yeah.
You needed to be able to focus on those things. What are those things that you had to do as the spouse to be okay with it. It wasn't like one day I showed up and I said, oh, I don't have expectations anymore. Like, let's jump in bed and do all these crazy things.
Right, right.
So there was tons that went on. And the easy ones to see is me, the things that I needed to do. What were the things that you needed to do to get there?
I needed to understand. I think it was really important for me to understand that the physical and the emotional for you were combined. And often maybe you didn't share the emotional meaning, but to see that they were combined because they're separate in my mind. And so I had to like give myself a lot of room to, he's saying this, but it also means this, right? To understand you differently. So the story I had about you was that you only wanted my body. And I really had to confront that story. And I had to also confront like what the meaning of desire and sexuality were for me and change it from I have a job to do to keep you
Yes.
happy. I literally had to blow that story to shreds. And I had a lot of evidence that story was true. And
Yeah.
so confronting it was difficult. And I really changed it to being sexual and being married are important for my well-being. They're an important part of me. And this is an important part for me to integrate and develop and take away that frame of reference on you.
I think it gets so easy. Maybe this is wrong, but I'll just say that it feels like there's clearly a list of things that us men do to F it up. Clearly, right? And those are easy identified and maybe not quite heroic. I think the female side has just as many things that aren't quite as evident and are maybe seen as heroic. This is, I'll explain myself.
Yeah, what do you mean?
So I think the biggest challenge, and you started to get into the meat of it, to me, the biggest challenge you had to change is that you had derived this thought that your value was driven or extracted from doing things for people.
Mm,
Service was the only thing that brought value to your life.
mm.
And you were set up this way from the very young age, going through the culture and being taught that's how it was. And you brought this to the marriage. And in that fact that you brought that to the marriage, no matter how, and I messed it up, but even if I had been pure in my intents, or I think those are the intents,
Yeah.
your tendency to want to check the box of goodness based on how much you did for that person would have
Absolutely.
hindered us from being able to do that. So it becomes the parent-child relationship of what it really becomes.
Right. And so that's me learning that external things can be good and worthy and important and even very nice, but they aren't a measure of my worth or value.
And why I say that is because that's very heroic, right? Like I'm serving, I'm giving of myself.
Oh, I see.
I'm
The
doing these
serving
things that I'm
part looked
supposed to
heroic.
do.
I wouldn't say heroic because that seems more male. I would say virtuous.
Okay, virtuous. This is how I derive my virtue. So when
Or
we get to the
goodness.
list of things that guys need to do, hey, stop having sexual fantasies and begging your wife to get laid. Like those are easily from a culture perspective pointed at and said, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because it fits into the cultural narrative of sex is bad.
Right.
Your desires are bad. Your sexuality is bad. So it fits the narrative. So it's really easy to do. And I think this is where the males in our coaching practice get defensive, right? Because the focus is clearly on them. It's listed as bad. And we get there, but the focus when it switches to our female friends is like, oh, you got to stop serving and giving of yourself. So stop being evil, sexual deviant, or stop being a virtuous servant, right?
Oh, that's funny.
So it's really that way.
Actually, I see what you're saying,
You
but
see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but I haven't seen it that way before.
And so we sit there and say, well, we're doing all these things to get rid of our sexual deviancy, right? And change ourselves, which is not true, right? The first thing is to come up and say it's not deviant and this sexuality is a good thing, but that's a
Right.
hard thing to get to.
Right.
So we start changing our behaviors without being pesty and begging. And that's easy to see because that's the evil thing we're trying to get rid of. And you still sit in your virtue of service, but yet it's just as destructive to the marriage bed.
Right. Right. And it's learning to drive that sense of worth so much deeper, right? From all the external you know, caretaking of your kids and your home and maybe meals and groceries and volunteering and church service and all the things, right? You just name it, neighbors, and driving that worth deeper into I have value, I have inherent value, and I matter. And I can make choices as to how I'm living my life. But my virtue isn't defined by the amount of things I do in a day.
Yep. And then until you can get to that point, you really can't say there is value in the sexual relationship for me.
Because it is all about servicing.
Yes.
It's just another servicing area that is supposed to bring virtue, but leads to extreme resentment because of the personal nature of the engagement.
So say I even get better at not setting expectations, but
Yeah.
I have desires.
Yeah.
If I bring that to you and you're still in a servicing mindset, no matter how good I am at asking for that desire,
Yeah.
it will never work because that will become an expectation that you set on yourself. Even if I don't set it, you'll set it on yourself, and that will destroy the intimacy of it. And there's no, because you'll go into that with no ability to say, yes, there is something in this for me.
Right. That's the wholeness I was talking about at the beginning. You have to have that whole sense of self in order to be able to enter desire. And where women struggle with that is being told it's virtuous to only serve others and to be able to find that you have your own desires. They aren't selfish. It doesn't make you a narcissist or self-centered. In fact, I think virtue and desires align perfectly, but it's again not about putting a measurement on how they have to look. That's when it moves to the expectation. That's when it moves, when your internal sense of worth and value moves from within you to outside of you.
Yeah. And I think we get confused. And the biggest problem we have is we see the things that we need to change and we apply that to you, which again is coming from the measurement, which we've already said is bad. But in this midst of this change process, I've seen it happen a million times, right? We're making progress with the husband. He goes, okay, I'm not going to seek out validation. I'm going to have desires. I'm going to be honest about where I'm at. I'm going to bring these things to be intimate with my wife. And then they get so frustrated, like, but why do I have to do all that? My wife just sits around and waits for me to be better so that we can have great sex. And I think the flaw in that thought is you're trying to look at your wife and say she needs to change in the same ways you need to change. She needs to do the same things you need to do to get closer in this relationship. And the fact is, it's almost the exact opposite things that she needs to do to be able to do this. Her work is understanding the value that she brings to the intimacy relationship without the service, that there is value in intimacy for her and something for her. And it's not taking, it's truly giving if she can connect and take. I don't know. I don't want to use the word take from it because it's not take, but it's derived value. It's Amy got 0 out of the sexual relationship for years and years and years, maybe 17 of them.
In fact, I think it had a
negative impact. Yeah.
impact.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the fact anymore, right?
No, not at all.
Not at all. She derives goodness from it. She gets value out of it. She has replenishment from it. Maybe replenish is the best word we can use.
Yeah.
Because she's found what is in it for her.
It's a source of aliveness, creativity, connection.
And we put so many of these things to measure. I think the biggest measurements we put are frequency. So men will be, I want more. And if I got more, that means I was being chosen by my wife and that she'd really want me. And novelty.
There's your if then.
Yep. And those are the two things we put the expectation on, is frequency and novelty. So if you're ever coming to your minds and saying, if only my wife would have more sex with me, then I would feel chosen and connected, that's a red flag. If you're saying, if only my wife will do oral for me, then she would choose me because she really desires me like I desire her. Like, I don't get it. I desire to do oral on her. I'll do anything she wants. Like, I tell me, you asked, you got it, right? If she really loved and chose me, she would do the same. No, sameness is bad. It really is. Trying to make each other the same is bad. Where the great wonderful hot sex happens is in those differences, is having someone that pursues and someone that gets pursued, enjoys being consumed and the consumer. And we got to have these differences. If we make each other the same, then eros goes out the window too. Intimacy goes.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to think of the if-thens from myself.
I was going to ask you that. Maybe if-thens too, and maybe we'll stage this. What are the expectations that you find yourself falling into that become dangerous or destroy intimacy?
It's so funny because the first ones that come to mind are always like domestic. And
Ah.
so while yours are erotic, mine are if my husband really loved me, he would help around the home, or he would
Yep.
be more engaged with the family and the logistics of it. Or he, at one point in our marriage, it was regarding your health, which I know was completely unfair, but since we're talking about that, and that was really due to my fears of losing you, like I'd lost my dad. So those were come first. I'm trying to think in the sexual realm, if he really loved me, he wouldn't take from me. He wouldn't ask this of me, probably something like that. He wouldn't objectify me because I didn't really understand then the female
desire.
form and eros and desire. Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with having the two buckets where you lean into, hey, my if-thens run out of my domestic bucket. It's usually probably very normal. And my if-thens run out of my eros bucket or erotic bucket.
And I think they were, I'm just like capturing, trying to go back. They were also like, at that time, when I would ask you, say, like, how was your day? How did it go? And I'd get good, fine.
That's what it was.
And so it was also things like if my husband really wanted to be connected to me, he would share himself too. He would let me into what's going on for him.
We need to have a whole episode around this one. I think there's something here we need to dig into.
About?
I think we want our men folk so badly to be vulnerable and show the vulnerable side of them, but then we can't handle when we don't have that strength that we think we need that brings more certainty to life, right?
So say that again.
So I'll give you an example.
Are you talking about we as in women or you as in men?
We as in women.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Like you really love it when I let you into what's going on at work and some of the struggles I have, right?
Yeah.
But it also brings a high level of anxiety that at one time you couldn't deal with, knowing that we may not have, there's, a chance that I could not have a job or could not support the family. I've seen this so many times. It shows up more likely in business scenarios. I can't tell you how many business owners, whether they're in partnership with their wives in the business, this happens to, or they're running the business and their wife is not as a partner in the business,
They just lock it up.
that they would never tell them the risks that they're having.
They're facing and struggling. Yeah.
The risk of what income's going to come in may not come in because of these things. And we have had meetings, we've had joint meetings where there's like, hell no, I'm not telling her that. And I think it's true.
You mean
because
with your clients?
Yeah, with our clients. Because I think it's true because the anxiety, a lot of times the wives aren't able to process through that anxiety that it brings. And now we've caused this big anxiety. Like I'm anxious anyway to make sure I go get that business and make it. But now I have to manage, and this is wrong, right? Because they're grown ass women and they can manage themselves. But we put that in there. I have to manage her anxiety too.
Yeah. And again, when I was trying to manage you to manage me, I couldn't tolerate it. So, right. And you couldn't tolerate mine either. So it went both ways. And that's why I think just learning just a few basic understandings about emotions and emotional skills and how to process them is life-changing for a marriage. Being able to tolerate more honesty about emotional experiences is life-changing. I have seen it drastically turn couples around in their ability in their ability to be known, because when you start with like sectioning off parts of yourself, and keeping them away, like you
Right.
can
There's
feel
something that you're
that,
not letting me all the way in.
yeah, like that distance, that disconnect. And even if you don't know what's not being shared, there is that lack of full presence that you can feel.
I love Brene Brown, and she put it most succinctly in this. She tells a story of signing books, and a man came up and got 3 books signed for his daughter and 2 daughters and wife. And he asked her the questions like, "How come you don't study vulnerability in men?" She said, "Oh, I just don't know. I don't do that." So that's convenient. It's just, what do you mean? Well, you see those 3 books that I just got my 2 daughters and wife to sign? They rather see me die on my white horse than fall off of it. And you want us to be vulnerable, but when I'm vulnerable, I get the shit kicked out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not by the other men in my life, it's by the women in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And her quote then, which I think is very, very important, it says, "You show me a wife that's able to sit in vulnerability and talk to her husband about his vulnerabilities, and I'll show you a wife that's done her work." A wife that is truly grounded and understands her value and who she is and where she is in her life, and can handle the emotional dissidence that comes from listening to the vulnerabilities of our husbands. We say we want them, just like Jennifer Finlayson Five talks about. We say we want intimacy, but we don't want to pay the price for it. So a lot of us don't want it because there's a cost that's associated to it.
And that cost is that risk to vulnerability.
Yep.
And
And
being
we
able
say
to
we want,
tolerate it and process through
yep,
it.
we say we want vulnerability, our husbands to be vulnerable, but we can't pay the cost.
Yeah. And so instead, we go into this managing, protecting, hiding, like all these dances. And we think that it's going well, but it's not. We think that we're pulling it off, maybe is a better way to say it.
Hide behind our virtues, we're
Yes.
doing the right things.
Yes. I think for women, marriage asks just as much of women as it does of men.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not more. It asks us both, but
I think for women, it really challenges us to accept the gift of our bodies wholly. And not that it doesn't challenge men to do that, but it challenges women in such
a different way.
A whole complete way. It challenges us to be able to accept ourselves, to find our own value, and to really challenge the idea that it's in what we give and do and how we serve. And not that those aren't important. They are important. But your sense of self really has to run deeper than that.
Yeah. Grow up.
Yeah, it has to.
Learn who you are. Be okay with that.
It challenges us to be vulnerable, not only with our hearts and our souls and our bodies, but in so many ways. Like we are the receiver of men. And the level of that vulnerability, I don't think can be underscored. Like I don't think you can dismiss that. And
I think that dynamic is what sets up the things that we go in and find us struggling with, right? So you being the receiver of it, your safety is so important, and your vulnerability around that is what causes some of these things to come out sideways because you can't process the safety. And when we say safety, men, mostly, there are some physical. If you're not physically safe, then you didn't get away from that, man, and shame on you, man. But it's that emotional vulnerability. It's that being present because you are the receiver. And I think on the flip side of that, where the red flags come for us and we can't really process through that, is we are the giver. And so with any gift that you give, you want that person to accept it. And so the risk and vulnerability that it takes that they may not accept that gift and they may reject it and you may feel rejection is where we suffer and where we go around. And we go, hey, if they would just accept this gift that we're trying to give them. When it's really not a gift, it's a checklist of to-dos. That's the problem. But it's this perfect dynamic in the way that we come together and we are the giver and receiver. And it's not 100% this way, depending on the dynamics and our sexuality.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
It comes up a lot. So let's say you've had a particular scene or fantasy or something that has sparked your desire and arousal. Okay. And you're like, yeah, that would be awesome.
Never happened to me. So I don't talk about it.
happens all the time, ladies and gentlemen. But and you are really wanting to share this idea with me. And so let's say that you do. And let's say for whatever reason, it's not a go for me at that time. There could be a myriad of reasons. At that point, how do you metabolize the idea that you had and still stay present with me? So let's say that I'm like, no, that really is just not a go for me, but I really want to be with you and I'm okay to be intimate with you. But that particular whatever, it's not a go for me.
So in the past, it didn't. So we'll talk about the bad part about it. In the past, I couldn't. It meant there was something wrong with me and I was deviant. And even the thought of bringing it up to you was, why would I do that? I can't believe I did that. And it kept me keeping those secret, right? Which doesn't end well, because if those ideas and fantasies fester and then usually come out sideways,
Right,
and either
in
you
ways that
go
you don't
seek visually seeing it somewhere else, or fantasize and imagine about it all the time and disconnect from your spouse. And that's very problematic. So a couple of things have happened that have helped me process in the moment. One, I have realized what fantasies are and why I have them, and then they're not bad. And the ultimate thing about that fantasy, about that scene playing out, is I want to connect and be with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've changed it from experiencing this thing to the underlying thing of, that would be great because, man, it would be fun, but it would also be connective.
Mm.
And so the goal for me has changed. And the fact I talk about this a lot too is that I have to still in this time kind of come out of that fantasy world, even if I'm about to bring something up to you that I want to try.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to, before I even bring it to you, bring myself back to reality.
Mm-hmm.
I have to come out of there. Okay, that's a fantasy. Fantasies are not reality.
Right.
They're not real. Could they become reality? Maybe.
Possibly.
There's a possibility. But the reality is, I'm sitting right here next to my wife. She loves me. I love her. I love being with her. We enjoy this beautiful relationship. There's tons of things we get to try and do. There's a few things that she doesn't want to try and do. I'm about to ask her something that she may or may not, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Getting myself back to that reality and then removing the expectations of what the meaning is.
Mm.
So if Amy says, no, I don't want to do this, it doesn't mean that the idea was bad. It doesn't mean the thing I want to do was gross. It doesn't mean that she doesn't love me. It doesn't mean that she doesn't want to try. It means there's something that's keeping her from desiring that. And that's okay because she's different. Now, that's my side. I can tell you the things that you've done that have really changed the game on this.
Okay, tell me.
A lot. Instead of, no, I don't want to try that, you have gotten a lot better of processing through what I've asked and understanding why there's no's. I don't like that because of the smells, or I don't like that because of the thought of this physical act isn't attracted to me because of other bodily functions. Like, you've gotten specific enough to be able to say, it's not because I don't desire you or not attracted to you and I don't want to try it. Here is my true blockers. Mm. So you've been able to tell me, what are the brakes putting on there? Now, guys, that doesn't mean that gives you the right to go try to get rid of those brakes. So that doesn't go well either. I don't know why I know that, just from talking to people, not from my own experience. Not that I've ever tried to go, oh, great, now I've got insight to the two things I need to get rid of, so she'll try this thing. But it's been really, really insightful to me, because oftentimes I'm wrong in my thoughts. Like, oh, she doesn't want to do this because, and I put my own things around it. But when you're very clear of the reason that the brakes are there and why they're there, it's so helpful. And then you've gotten really good at saying, hey, you know what? That doesn't sound great because of these breaks, but maybe we can try something in that realm like this. What does this sound like? And you collaborate with me. Or it even has come down to this, like, right now, that doesn't sound very good because I'm exhausted and I'm sore. And if we touch me there, it's going to hurt, right? Whatever it might be. But I'm willing to maybe think about it later when I'm not sore and I'm not tired. I don't know what the answer will be there, but I will think about it. So those couple of changes have made all the difference in the world to me because it's allowed me to say, I'm not being rejected. I'm collaborating with you.
Mhm.
So I'm
So
bringing
you
this
don't feel
idea.
like because a lot of my male clients, higher desire male clients will say, why do I have to surrender? Why don't I just get to have what I want?
That's not intimacy, period. And if you get what you want, then you're not getting what you want
Mm,
because it's not what you really want.
exactly.
So
What you
ultimately, what
really
you
want
really want
a
is,
soulful
yes.
connection with your spouse.
We've had
It's
one
not about
client that
the
goes, oh, it is
thing.
about the thing. And I about took a bat to his head
It's not about the
and
thing.
then finally he admitted that it's not about the thing. And then I've heard recently he's back about the thing. And the thing about fantasies, you can always make the next one bigger and better. And that's problematic too, right? Because I've seen this in clients too. The sex life improves dramatically. They're getting it more frequent than they're ever doing it.
Or more
They're doing it meaning
meaningful,
there's
more
more
pleasuring, more connection.
novelty in it. There's everything that they desired and they're still pouting. And you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Because now they're on to the next great thing that they think needs to happen. Get the hell out of our way. That's what I say, right? And it's so true because we're spending all this time focusing on this and we'll never find the thing we really want, which is the true connection and being chosen because we're focused on these physical things that we want to go do. Are they bad? No. Do I still ask Amy for them? Yes. But I know that we can co-create and collaborate on these things, which in those moments, that's when your mind is ever loving blown. And it may not look anything like you dreamt of. And it may. It could be both ways. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But the mind is blown because when you're done, I don't roll over and look at Amy and think, man, she just got taken from. She really didn't want to do that, but she gave in and I just took it from her. And that's the most awful thing because it's the exact opposite of being chosen.
Mm-hmm. That's
Right.
the
And
opposite of eros and intimacy and freedom and desire and choosing.
yeah, and I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on a podcast. It still it happened again. Like it hadn't happened in years. And I rolled over and looked at Amy and I'm like, oh my gosh, something's not right. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, oh, I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm like, stop thinking, just tell me. By the way, wives, I know you're trying to process, but could you just give us a hint? Because we go to all the other things. And ultimately it was that she felt like I was so determined to do certain things and rushed into these things that I didn't give her space to choose. And I was taking from her. And it was a good reminder. It sucked. I hate it. I don't ever want to do it again. But it was a good reminder to me of what that feeling felt like and why I hate it so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I thought that the physical act was fantastic, right? I'm over there celebrating, doing the victory dance. We had the greatest time. And she's over there thinking, this is the worst thing I've ever done. There can't be anything worse. So that's the thing is that we get so stuck on this and we think that if she would just do these things, then it would be this great experience. And it's either, I'll tell you, I'll just be bluntly honest here. It's most likely because you watch porn, right? So let's just be honest about it because 99.5% of us have. And the other 5% are lying, 0.5% are lying. So I think it's more like 100%, but I'm not going to push that because I'll be called a liar. I think every man out there has watched porn, but I won't push on that. A lot of it comes from that because it's fake. They're good actresses. And they spend their whole time faking that all they want to do is these crazy things because they desire you so much. And how fun is that? And that they're slowly turned on because they want to do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, oh, that's great. Now my wife needs X, Y, and Z. Right. And I know I just probably scared the shit out of a bunch of wives by saying that. But let's be realistic and have reality, right, in this thing. And when we can get out of that mindset and we can come back down to what we really want, and that's to be chosen and connective, then we stop painting this picture of what it looks like. It's not Hollywood.
Mm-mm. It's better.
It's
But
much, when you can do that, it's much better. It's better than, because
one of
we're
my
not faking
clients
it.
said this
It's
so
so
well.
much
He's
better.
like, yeah, if it were Hollywood, those movies would be really long. Those scenes would be like an hour.
I spent the last 3 weeks connecting with my wife and doing the
Instead of the
dishes.
montage of 30 seconds or 1 minute, or
Yeah,
whatever they
ripping their
are.
clothes off and doing it. And
He's like,
so,
yeah, those would move real slow. And I'm like, yeah, but that's real.
so I guess I'll take that back. I won't take it back. I still think my stats are right, but just maybe it won't scare people as much. Even if it's not porn, it's Hollywood. That's how they make movies. We run into the bedroom, we rip each other's clothes off, we make passionate love. That's what sex is portrayed as. So the culture has portrayed sex in a certain way that's unrealistic, because that's what sells. That's what gets people excited. But ultimately, it's not being chosen.
That may be movie sex, but it's lacking the intimacy of real life, real people, real bodies, real time intimacy.
Now, what I hope I just didn't just do, but I may have, and I'm looking at Amy here because I think I see her mind maybe ticking away. What I don't want to do is every time your husband brings you something, I don't want you to interrogate him. Where did you find that? Where do you think about that? How do you think about that? And then go through the spinning downward spiral like, oh, you're looking at porn and that's all you care about. I may have done that, so sorry.
No, not to me, but I am thinking of all the wives.
No, to our
now.
listeners, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's got to be some grace there. I think even without porn, men still have more active wives.
Oh, we have the active ideas and memories and
and
minds and imaginations of how we can fantasize. Absolutely.
So I wouldn't say that.
You just get it from your books, and it's somehow it's okay when it's in book form. I think that's the funniest thing in the whole world. If I watched the scenes that Amy read in a book, like, it would be porn, right? And it would be evil and terrible, but it's in a book, so it's fine. I don't get it.
It's funny. You make it like I read all these steamy novels.
No, I'm not saying you read them all the time, but is that not true though? And even for yourself, like, when you can hear it or read it, for you, you're more comfortable in that than visualizing it and seeing it, because it allows you to process it in your mind in the way you want to process it.
Think about how many messages women have received about their bodies.
Yeah.
And then if you get a visual of how your body should look in sexual intimacy,
Yeah.
that's extraordinarily inaccurate. You can't compare a real body to like the lighting and the colors and the painted skin and you know what I'm saying?
Let me throw this one at you. Then how do you feel like when we watch Poldark? And he has his shirt off and he's cutting the thing, thrusting every time.
He's
and you're over there like wiping your mouth off and you're drooling. I'll never look like Poldark in the thrusting moment. I'm working on it, but I don't think I'm going to get there. But I don't go through and like now say, oh, my body's terrible and she hates me because she's drooling over Poldark.
Body, I love your body, by the way. Let me just say that. It's the female body that's a symbol of eroticism. It's that body that gets, not that men's bodies don't get messaging about them. They do. But women's is just,
I think one of the things we talked about too,
just an onslaught. And so visually, and I've told you this, visually, if I'm watching those things, it's not that I'm looking at the man, it's, oh, I should look like that woman.
Yeah. True.
And so that's why it's more difficult for me.
That's why I said I should look like Poldark.
It brings up, it's a challenge for me to work through my own insecurities. And yeah.
And maybe the flip side that's more accurate for us is, we talked about this too, is really in relationships, women are looking for competency more than the hard rock body. And that's why dad bods get
competency.
Competency, yeah. That's why dad bods can pass, maybe, is because if you're competent at doing something. I think we're watching a comedian that talked about the 6-figure CEOs are attractive to women, and so are the plumbers that can fix something. And it wasn't because their bodies look the same and they're sexy, it's because they're both competent at something, right? And that's what they really do. And so maybe for us in these movies is the competency, the hero that goes and conquers the world and brings back the jewels and supplies all the things for the wife. And that's what she drools over, probably puts similar thought processes through our heads. Anyway, the point to the whole thing and why we talked about it is it's not the same. And that's okay.
Yes.
And setting the expectations causes us to not be able to have intimate relationships. And we can have these desires and wants and we can share them and be honest with them. But as soon as we expect them, expect our wives to do that or our spouses to do that or expect a certain outcome, we put a measurement and intimacy arrows.
Right. You move from that independence to dependency. You move from expansive to now measured.
Yep.
You move from possibility to like shutting down possibility.
Yep. Living in the now, the very moment, to me is one of the most important things that have changed the way that I engage Amy sexually. It has changed the game for me to be in the moment, because in that moment, we can co-create.
Mm-hmm.
That's where mind-blowing sex happens. It's a secret. Pay me $1 million and I'll give it to you. I just gave it away for free. It is the secret.
I think women are the same. We have to really, really bring ourselves to the current moment, let go of all the tasks and the to-dos and the what-abouts and messaging about body. For me, it's been so helpful to see the body as the container of my soul, the meaning of our intimacy as this soulful connection. And by soulful, I mean it's alive, it's life-giving, it's replenishing. Not about the what that happens, but about the connection that happens, and that it's unique to the two of us. And that's in that moment. It requires full presence to have that type of soulful experience. I can't be distracted into anything, right? It really is full presence. So
we are so grateful that we get to do this. Like I said, it's a little selfish for us. It's a little therapy session that we go through. We feel a lot better afterwards. Sex is better the next day. Great. So thank you for letting us be better. We appreciate it, but we would love
out, right?
Absolutely not. We're gonna love to engage with you and help you in this area. Well, there's nothing special about us. We've just been blessed to be able to mess it really up and then find some things that kind of work and really work and be able to coach hundreds of couples and see them change too. And we want that for you so bad. So go visit us on langfordlifecoaching.com and there's a free consult button up there. We would love to chat with you. Please. I love meeting all of you, even if it doesn't turn into anything else. Fun. It's just so much fun.
Come to our couples community, come to a free consult. We're going to do a webinar here. Soon
we are working on tons of different ways to engage with you. We're going to grow that. And so look forward to that, because I have never gotten off a console or gotten off a webinar or anything that we've done and go, man, that really sucked, or that was really bad, or I didn't enjoy that. It's the things I enjoy. It's the highlights of my week. So I look forward to it. Please do it. And we appreciate everybody. Go like and subscribe. And until next time,
keep undressing your intimacy.
Bye-bye.